Today, I'm gonna rank every single Clone Wars villain on this tier list right here. We got everyone, from the big guys like Count Dooku and Pre Vizsla and Ventress and all that bunch, to some of the more obscure ones like frickin' Ozzy Sobek from the Citadel episodes of the Clone Wars, and that funky looking doctor who tried to drop the coronavirus on Naboo way back when. And even Grand Moff Tarkin. I mean, whoa, hold on just a sec. What the frick is Grand Moff Tarkin doing on this tier list? Grand Moff Tarkin, when at the time of the Clone Wars, was not a villain yet. He was a valiant soldier of the Republic, which means, boys, it's time to add a tier already. Sorry, he's not a villain yet, comma, give him 20 years, period. There you go, buddy. Glad that's settled. Alright, now that we're actually starting the list, our first one is Darth Sidious. And Darth Sidious, I mean, come on. You can't not give him S tier. It's frickin' Darth Sidious. Even though he's not always out there swinging his dual lightsabers, and when he is, it's frickin' epic, he still is Darth. He's like the head of the Clone Wars. This guy controlled both sides, played both sides, and came out on top. He is the ultimate villain of the Clone Wars, even if he's not in it that much. Definitely S tier. No other way to put it. Bossk. Bossk is easily, I'd say, a B tier villain. He's good. He's not great. He's in probably 6 episodes total, and he's good in those episodes, but it's just not very much screen time. So I think he's good B tier, though. I think it's fair. He's definitely up there. And speaking of B tier, we have next up Darth Maul, who Darth Maul is the most B tier. I'm freaking kidding. Darth Maul's obviously S tier. I mean, come on here. I gotta give Dave Filoni all the credit in the book, because he picked up Darth Maul from the shadows and depths of the bottom of the Phantom Menace hole and dragged him out by his bootstraps and made him one of the most epic villains in all of Star Wars. Because Darth Maul in the Phantom Menace was good, not great, I would say. I think he had a great duel, obviously one of the best duels in Star Wars, no one would contest that, but as a character in that movie, he had like 31 words in the entire movie spoken. 31 throughout the whole movie. That is pathetic. But now we see him in Clone Wars, and in Clone Wars, he is one of the greatest villains in the entire show. He goes from being frozen in space with Savage Opress to the king of the Mandalorians in like 24 hours. No joke, he is actually a legend. Honestly, if you're watching this list, then you've obviously watched the Clone Wars, and you just know how freaking great Darth Maul is, so it is so easy to leave him up here at S tier. Easiest choice of my entire life. Asajj Ventress is next, and Ventress is an easy A tier villain, I'd say. She's not S tier, but she's not B tier. She's an easy A tier. I will say, Ventress is one of those characters that is easier to like as the show goes on. When she first comes out and first starts being, Dooku's assassin or whatever, she's alright. She's kind of ineffective. She's good in a fight, but she never really does anything that insane. But then as the show goes on and Dooku betrays her and she has to fend for herself and she becomes a bounty hunter and she helps Ahsoka find out who blew up the Jedi Temple or whatnot, that's when she gets really cool. And that's when she starts to become much more likable and much more interesting. Also, come on, boys, you know me. I'm a sucker for a curved hill, and Ventress has got 2 of them. I mean, come on, what's not to like? That is actually epic. And she's fire with them. She's actually a great fighter. So, A tier, very fair in my opinion. I think we're about to get our first F tier, because this is that random guy from the Battle of Christophsis that Obi-Wan pulls a war crime on and fakes a surrender for, and then absolutely obliterates in the battle. Easy F tier. This guy is so useless. He's only in 1 episode, or 1 arc of Clone Wars, I think, the Battle of Christophsis, and he gets played for a fool. And on top of that, he's not even that great of a leader. He's like just some random guy who has a bunch of battle droids at his command, and it's not like he does anything insane with those battle droids. He's not like some D1 commander. He's just a guy. And as a villain, kind of F tier. I mean, I don't even know his name. I can't remember his name. So F tier for sure, all the way. Okay, this next one is so familiar. I swear, I'm looking at it and the back of my mind is rolling around like a car, trying to figure out who the frick this is, because so familiar, but just don't quite have it. Just not really there. I do not know who this droid is. I gotta be honest. I'm sorry. I know everyone in the comments will. I know I'll get heavily roasted for this. I just don't know who this is. I'm sure it's a very evil, impressive villain droid. I'm very confident of that. Just don't know who it is. So that's that. And that means, boys, that once again, it's time to go add a tier, add a row below. Who the heck are you? Perfect. Now let's put the droid up there. Nute Gunray. Nute Gunray is a very, very easy C tier villain, I think. Physically, Nute Gunray is the least impressive guy I've ever seen. He looks like a worm, he looks like a larva, and I'm sure he leaves a trail of slime when he walks. I'd actually bet good money that he does. And when it comes to being a villain, I mean, he's more of a war profiteer. He just funds the separatists. He's kind of like a business guy. He's not really as influential as he may seem. So I feel like in terms of villainy, he's also not that impressive. I think, honestly, everything about him screams C tier, because he's not this bad. Admiral Trench. Admiral Trench is, again, kind of like a Bossk, where he's not a huge villain in the show. I think he's in 2 separate arcs. The one where Anakin defeats him, and the other one where Anakin also defeats him. Even though he's not very physically impressive, he is a spider, which is freaking sick. And on top of that, he is a tactical genius, which is very impressive. So I think he's a solid B tier. I got nothing against Trench. And plus, I gotta admit, when he was a robot spider and he had half his legs were robotic and he had the robot eye, as you can see in this picture right here, freaking legend. I mean, this guy was a cool, freaking tough looking guy. Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan, I think, is a Ventress tier villain. Honestly, I feel like she's a little worse than Ventress, but she's not as bad as Admiral Trench and Bosk, for example. She's a little better than them, because she's more of a big character, you know? She gets more screen time, she's more of a real role, and she's, I mean, I gotta admit, I like Deathwatch, and she's pretty impressive. So, I think it's A tier. She's nothing that special, but she's pretty cool. I like Bo-Katan. I'm fine with A tier. I think that works pretty well. Rush Clovis. Rush Clovis, if I remember correctly, is just like the scummiest guy in Star Wars. Not even really that much of a villain, just a scumbag. From what I recall of the one series he was in, basically, he goes with Padme to his planet with intentions on making her fall in love with him. She's kind of like going with it for some reason, if I remember correctly. And then Anakin shows up, much to all of our delight, and absolutely bodies him, which everyone loves to see. So I think as a villain, he's probably a C tier villain. I mean, he's more physically capable than this guy, that's for sure. Riff Tamson, old hammerhead over here. I gotta be honest, it's pretty respectable that Dave Filoni was trying to make an alien species to live underwater, and he literally just took a great white shark and gave it arms and said, boom, this is our villain. But I do remember Riff Tamson being pretty cool. Physically, he's an absolute beast. I remember there's one scene where he's going through whoever he's fighting, he's just going through and absolutely destroying them, biting off heads, biting arms. He's a legend, like a killing machine. I'm gonna admit, I don't remember his philosophy too well. I can't remember why he was doing this, why he was so mad at the Mon Calamari and the other species that he was fighting. But honestly, just because of his physical strength, I'm gonna put him B tier. I mean, this guy, he's not a very big character, but when he's in the episode, he's in the episode. You don't forget him very easily, so B tier is fair. This droid is evil, but it's almost more Ahsoka's fault than it's, because this droid was obviously sabotaging everyone from the very start, and Ahsoka was still turning a blind eye and just totally fine with it for no reason. And Anakin saw right through that scumsucker. Anakin said, no, I know you're up to something, I'm gonna find you, and Ahsoka being your friend is not gonna help you. And I respect that from Anakin. Honestly, kind of a B tier villain, genuinely. But actually, I am gonna put it C tier looking at this again, just because I feel like these are three legends in their own sense, and you cannot put this droid amongst the Hammerhead, the Spider, and the Lizard. I mean, these guys have their own little zoo right here. This is the animal kingdom in all fairness, but Mother Talzin. Mother Talzin is either S tier or A tier, and right now I'm kind of leaning A tier. You know what? I'm gonna go for A tier. I really like Mother Talzin. I like the style of magic that she uses. I like the director's choices to put magic in the show. That's a bold move, and it worked out great. The Night Sisters are some of the coolest characters in the show, and all the Night Sister episodes are actually awesome. Plus, that one episode where Mother Talzin confronts Mace Windu and makes like a magical sword out of nowhere and stands down against Mace Windu is actually epic. That's a pretty sick moment. So Mother Talzin, honestly, easy A tier. I'm a big fan. The subscribe button, yes! It would not be a Jedwerd video if the subscribe button were not here. And I'm gonna put the subscribe button at who the heck are you? And you wanna know why, boys? You wanna know why I'm putting the subscribe button at who the heck are you? Because only a small percentage of you are actually subscribed to my channel. Listen, you watch my videos every week, you're a big fan of them, I know you have a big smile on your face whenever you put them on, and I appreciate you. Just hit that subscribe button. Scroll down, I'm sure it's glowing right now because it glows when I say subscribe. The subscribe button glows down below. At least go check that and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And now, let's get on to Luke Skywalker, because if you don't know, yeah, I know, I'm about to drop some huge bombs on you. Darth Bane right here is voiced by Mark Hamill. Boom! I guarantee a lot of you didn't know that, so you're welcome. You owe me this one. Darth Bane, I mean, to be honest, Darth Bane's not even really a villain in this show. Darth Bane is like a hallucination of Yoda's. And honestly, I might have to give him his own tier, boys. I think that's how what I'm gonna have to do, because he's not really a villain. Not really a villain, just a hallucination of Yoda's. Boys, I can't believe I just spelled hallucination right there. That was crazy. I was going with the flow, and I was just typing, and hallucination, boom. Honestly, someone put on some victory music, because I'm feeling like I'm in a mood right now. Sorry, just living like a king right now. Can't really hear you over the sound of my glorious fanfare. Yeah, anyway, yeah, Darth Bane's going in this one right here. You know what's kind of crazy is how much being a shapeshifter helps you be a fire villain. That's why this shapeshifter who helped Cad Bane break into the Jedi Temple right here is going in B tier. Next up is that medical droid that fixes up General Grievous in his lair, and I guess, I mean, C tier, nothing too special. I mean, he's witty, he's kind of funny, he's a funny guy, funny character, but in terms of villainy, he pushes some buttons to open some doors that makes the heroes fall into some traps. That's about it. Not really the greatest villain I've ever seen, but, you know, I think C tier is pretty fair. That works for me. Gar Saxon. Gar Saxon is probably, if I had to guess, I put him A tier. I think he's an A tier character. And now you might be wondering, Jedwerd, why are you outside? What are you doing in this vast abode? The answer to that, dear viewer, is I'm going to get some bread at Walmart. I have a fat Andrew Jackson in my pocket right here. Look at him. Oh, for all you non-history buffs, that's a $20 bill. Sorry, I need to get some bread at Walmart. And I also need to finish this video. So I'm gonna multitask. I'm gonna do both at the same time. So that's why we're gonna do a cool edit right now of me editing into my car. Ready, set, go. Boom. Am I the best editor of all time or what? Anyway, as I was saying about Gar Saxon is pretty cool. He's not as good as Pre-Vizsla. Pre-Vizsla's kind of the OG GOAT, but Gar Saxon is a cool cucumber. I like Gar Saxon. I think his addition to Season 7 was pretty cool. And honestly, I think he's a solid A-tier character. No, A-tier or B-tier. He's not a big enough character to be A-tier. You know what? I'm putting him B-tier. Boom, done. Gar Saxon B-tier. Now, a quick lesson for all you young grasshoppers out there is that driving and recording at the same time is a terrible idea. Don't do it. You should have called me out instantly. If you didn't go into the comment when you saw me driving and talking at the same time, you are the problem. You should have gone to the comments and said, Jedwerd, this is a bad idea. Don't do that. You should have typed it out. But I'm sure you didn't. So, that's why I'm not going to be filming for the rest of this car ride because I need to drive safely. And instead, I'll use this time to rock the frick out. Alright gang, just pulled into Walmart, so it's now safe to talk again. I'm glad we all learned a little lesson from this. But Prime Minister Almec is next. And Prime Minister Almec is probably a B-tier villain. I like him. I gotta admit, he was kind of a twist villain. I didn't initially see him coming. He did go out kind of fast though, I gotta admit. He did get knocked out of the running pretty quick. But I think B-tier is a pretty fair place to put him. I don't see a lot of other good options. So I think B-tier is gonna be it. Anyway, up next is Poggle the Lesser. And Poggle the Lesser, I'd probably put him a solid C-tier. Not as good as most of the other ones, but man, he's not terrible. It doesn't really help that he just clicks and mumbles and makes weird sounds the whole time, so I never heard him speak a word of English. So honestly, maybe, yeah, C tier is very fair. He's not as bad as a lot of people in F tier, so I can't put him that low, but C tier is a very, very fair place to put him, I feel like. Up next is another one of the Neomoidian ones who are really, really unfun. What's his name? Lot Dot, I think his name is. And that is like an F tier one if I've ever seen it. Not only is he a bad villain, he's just boring as frick. He can't do anything. He, again, looks like a larva who just hatched. Kind of uncool. I think, you know what? Keep that guy at the bottom. Put an easy F tier. Not a big fan. Way worse than New Gunray. At least New Gunray's got a little ring to it, you know? He's got a certain kind of oomph to it. So that's what I'd say. Alright, I'm filming very sparsely because I really am doing my best not to make anyone here feel uncomfortable or like I'm putting them on video or filming them. But I did cop the bread. So the bread is got, and now we're going to go check out. And now we're also going to talk about Pre-Vizsla. And Pre-Vizsla is probably an A tier. I'm actually a big fan of Pre-Vizsla. I think that he's the ultimate Mandalorian. I honestly think that in a lot of ways, he was kind of right about some things. Obviously, I don't condone terrorism, but like, I mean, come on. That Mandalore was getting weak. With all the resources it had, should have been thriving, but Satine was making them weak. So that's what I think. And I'm gonna check this bread out. So, catch you after that. Just got out of Walmart, and you would not believe it. $3.57 for one loaf of bread. What is the country I used to love coming to? Honestly, falling apart in front of my eyes, and there's nothing I can do about it. Anyway, that actually, I filmed it there way less than I thought I was going to because I did not want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. But now, back at the car, I'm gonna talk about, I don't know who this is. This guy who's up next. He's like a king or something. I kind of remember him vaguely from the Clone Wars, but that is about it. Kind of remember as being like a separatist king of some planet and then getting killed at the end of the episode, presumably by Anakin Skywalker or Obi-Wan Kenobi. But that is where my knowledge of him ends. So I'm going to put him on the can't remember tier. I'm gonna have to. I don't remember him. So that's that. Anyway, successful expedition. We got the bread. We got into Walmart. We got out, and we ranked some characters while we were at it. We ranked some characters. So now we're gonna go and drive home. No, we're not driving home. We're stopping the video and then driving home. I hope you guys learned something by now. Do not film and drive. Bad idea. I'm gonna rock out to Chief Keef though, so I'll catch you on the other side. Just arrived back at my humble abode with the goal of making a peanut butter and banana sandwich, only to realize we don't have any bananas, despite the fact that I just got bread, which is highly disappointing to say the least. But on the plus side, there's Dogword. Dogword, say hi! Yeah. Anyway, next up we have that trader from the episode where they're on Duchess Satine's ship and they're trying to figure out who's putting the spider droids in. Don't remember his name. Don't care that much. I just remember he was a one-episode C-tier villain who didn't achieve very much before he got stabbed through the heart. So that's that. And look how happy he is. Hi, Dogword. Oh, good boy. Well, here we are, back at the tier list, and I realized I was wrong. This right here is Lot Dodd. This is I don't frickin' know who, but not Lot Dodd. So I'm gonna leave him in F tier, and someone is hammering. You can probably hear it. Holy cow, it is kind of loud. All I know is Lot Dodd is still going F tier, and I'm leaving this guy right there too. They can sit there together and wallow in their own filth, which by the looks of them looks like they would because they look like slimy insects. So F tier, straight up. The Zygerian Slaver is next. Now this arc in the Clone Wars, the Zygerian Slaver arc, was actually very, very good. I really enjoyed that. But the Zygerian Slaver as a character and as a villain, He's probably C tier. I could see him as C tier. He's not that influential, not that important. The way more important one, who's honestly maybe an A tier villain, is this lady right here. She was really good, and her relationship with Anakin was very good too. Very interesting, very fun to watch. I'd put her A tier all day. I think he belongs right here at C tier, and I don't see a reason to say otherwise. Wat Tambor is next, and Wat Tambor I feel like is almost the exact same person as Nuka and Rey. These two characters feel interchangeable. Their roles in the Separatists are almost the exact same, except Wat Tambor doesn't speak English. I think C tier is very fair. Next up is that freaky Geonosian lady. I don't remember her name, but she's the queen of the Geonosians that has the little worm hive mind things. And this lady is an absolute weirdo. I mean, her body is like as big across as my room. She's really tall, really fat, disgusting creature. I think she's like, she also dies pretty quick. She's in part of the episode until the rocks fall on her. I think F tier. I forgot about her. That's like flashbacks. Back in the day, when I was a kid watching Clone Wars, I remember getting like PTSD from watching them put that worm up Luminara Unduli's nose. That was disgusting. Boba Fett, I'm gonna put in A tier entirely for his sheer consistency throughout the show. First of all, over the course of the show, we see him grow up a little bit. We see him go from a weird, immature kid who wants to kill Mace Windu and can't really do it because Mace Windu's actually a good Jedi, to like some random bounty hunter leading expeditions to protect people's daughters on the train from getting kidnapped in order to bring them to forced weddings. Do you remember that episode? That was an awesome episode, but very interesting role for Boba to take. I do not know this guy's name, but I do know that he was the Trandoshan who was trying to hunt Ahsoka when they captured Ahsoka and put them on the island for sport. He's like the same level as this character. He was like a 2-episode villain who was part of the arc, and he dies at the end if I remember correctly. The only thing he's got going for him is he's a Trandoshan, and he's nowhere near as cool as Bosk. So because of that, I feel like he goes C tier. Count Dooku. Now Count Dooku, boys, if you've watched this channel before, I think you have a pretty good idea of where I'm putting Count Dooku. I mean, come on. I have his lightsaber right here, and I pull it out every single time I talk about him because I think it's that cool. But look at this curved hilt, boys. Look at this curved hilt. Look at this elegance, this style. These quick strokes that I can hit. This is tough. This is the definition of tough. But yeah, all of that's to say that, in my humble opinion, and the obviously correct one, Count Dooku is an easy S tier character. I mean, he is like the main villain of this show. All of the other characters eventually end up having to deal with him in some way, or have to report to him, or have to... In some way, he's always pulling the strings. In a lot of ways, he's the master of puppets of the show. And speaking of master of puppets, I'm seeing Metallica on August 4th, and I cannot wait. And if any of you are going to be at Gillette Stadium watching Metallica, I will be there too on August 4th. See you then. But yeah, Count Dooku, S tier character, big fan. If you've watched this channel before, you know that. That was never a question for me. The Defibrillator is this guy right here. This is, I don't know his name, but he was on that weird planet with the weird chimpanzee things, the lemur looking things. And he was the one who wanted to burn them to the ground with the defibrillator. So I'm putting the defibrillator guy in C tier. I genuinely have no idea why they're including him, but this looks to be the battle droid commander from the episode where Yoda and the clones got stranded on that random planet with the Toydarians and Ventress. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. The first ever episode of Clone Wars. That's this one, I feel like. But this is just some random droid commander, and not particularly special in any way as far as I know. So, I guess C tier? I mean, what the frick am I supposed to do? This is a random droid. I don't know anything about him. Now, boys, back in the day, I used to be a big fan of LEGO Star Wars 3, The Clone Wars. And that's why I think this guy's name right here is Roboto. Something R Roboto. Something like that. Because I remember using him in a Clone Wars level of that video game. He's probably a Bosk-like character. Well, I can't put him on the same level as Bosk, because he's a good hacker, but he's kind of like a squid-looking thing. Probably not that good in a fight. Honestly, I put him on a C tier. I don't really want to. I feel like he's a little bit better than C tier, but I am sure as heck not making another tier. So right now, he's staying at C tier, because I don't think I can put him on B. Next up is Castus, and Castus, I feel like, is also a C tier villain. He does very little. He's in like 2 episodes of the entire show, and then eventually he's gonna like betray Aurra Sing and Boba Fett. So I keep saying Ventress. Sorry, 2 bald, pasty ladies. Aurra Sing shoots him and kills him, and that's the end of his arc. So maybe he was a great fighter. I have no idea. He was in like 1 fight that I saw, but I gotta put him in C tier from what I saw, from what I did actually see in the show. This right here is that clone in the Battle of Christophsis who gave information to the Separatists and was gonna betray his brothers in arms. He also didn't make it very far, so pretty bad villain in my opinion. Honestly, he's also a C tier. A lot of C tier villains. I'm realizing now that a lot of the villains in Clone Wars are just incompetent, stupid, fat, useless, or overall unhelpful in most ways, or ineffective at the very least. Zero the Hutt. Honestly, I am putting Zero at B tier for sheer style. This guy has this drip down. Look at him. He's got those glow in the dark tattoos. He's purple. Boys, if you're purple, you win a little sympathy from me. I'm a big fan of purple villains on this channel because I myself, my profile picture is purple, for crying out loud. So Zero, maybe he's not the greatest villain, but you know what? I'll put him B tier. I'll have a little sympathy. Plus, I think it's really funny the way he talks. You talk like this, drama, what are you doing? I kind of like that. I don't know. I'm not. Now, this is the guy I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Ozzy Sobek. He looks very scary. He's like if an ape looked like a human. That's a bad description, but I feel like it also kind of makes sense. He was not a very big villain. He was only in the 4 episodes of the Citadel that we saw, but during that time, we saw him as a pretty ruthless guy. He was willing to do anything to get them back. He was a very, very commanding officer. He did get killed at the end of the arc. I'm gonna put him C tier because I'm looking at B tier and I'm seeing these legends and I'm like, yeah, you know what? He can't fall in amongst them. They are too good for him. They are simply too well done. So I'm putting him in B tier or C tier. Savage Opress. Now Savage Opress is actually freaking sick. I actually love Savage Opress. I think he's so cool. I wish we got a little more character development out of him because what happened was that we had the whole arc where he's against his brother and he's gonna fight his brother and he kills his brother in order to stay alive. And because of that, Ventress chooses him and gives him roids, and he becomes 6'9", jacked out of his mind, and goes and finds Darth Maul. And after that, he has 0 character growth for the rest of the show. Just nothing. He's floating in space. All he does is do whatever Maul tells him. He's like a less cool Darth Maul. So because of that, I'm gonna put him in A tier because he's Savage Opress. I'm not freaking putting him lower than that. Believe me. This is that guy who gave General Grievous R2-D2 and who lied to Anakin Skywalker and deployed the Magna Guards or had the Magna Guards ready to be deployed. And I'm putting him F tier. He was in like 4 minutes of 1 episode. He did absolutely nothing except lie once, and he barely got away with it too. F tier villain, honestly. Do a little better, buddy. Pong Krell. Now, Pong Krell is a villain who you love to hate. Anyone who treats their clones as a lower life form for no reason other than the fact that they're clones is actually a stupid moron and does not realize that they're still organic life forms. Oh, I hate hitting my mic because I know it shakes the audio a little bit, but whatever. He did have some absolutely epic lightsabers. He had 4 arms, so he had the 2 double-bladed lightsabers, and he was a tornado of awesome light whenever he used them. I would have loved to see him in a lightsaber fight, but I guess we won't. So, because again, he died at the end of the episodes. As a villain, he was very ineffective in a lot of ways. He was gonna join Count Dooku, but then he got killed by a bunch of clones, so kind of lame on his part. At the same time, this guy, again, love to hate him. He's a very good villain. He's good at making you angry and feel for the clones. I'm putting him A tier. We're getting towards the end now, and coming up next is General Grievous. And General Grievous, here's the thing. General Grievous is like a pretty cool character. It's cool to see him in a fight, but at the same time, I have never seen a more cowardly robot in my entire life. For a guy who's made of like 98% metal, he is so scared. Every time something goes wrong, he puts a droid in command, slaps him on the back, and runs away as fast as he freaking can. I hope there's a YouTube compilation that's probably at least an hour long of General Grievous running away from bad situations. He is an unbelievable coward. However, that being said, sorry, I'm just eating yogurt covered pretzels. I have a bunch down here. They're really good actually, but sorry, that's besides the point. Even though he's a coward, he is still an absolute legend. And because of that, I feel wrong not putting him in A tier. I feel like it's the only logical thing to do. And plus, the guy can wield 4 lightsabers. I mean, come on, that is actually dope. This is that random Senate guard. As you can see, he's wearing a Senate guard armor who betrayed the Republic and worked for Ventress and the Separatists, and then got killed like 20 minutes in for his trouble. That is his entire rule in the show. He was in 1 episode, he betrays them, and he gets killed. He is in almost exactly the same position as this guy, except this guy actually, no, this guy died. I forgot. This guy did die. But the point is that he was also a very, very useless character who did very, very little and was a bad villain overall. And speaking of bad villains, we have Cad Bane next. I mean, oh, how annoying can you get? I mean, the hat, so 80s. The red eyes, so 60s. And the twin blasters, so 1830s. Please, F tier. Psych! If you believe that, I hope you click off now. I really do. Because Cad Bane is my favorite bounty hunter in Star Wars and one of the coolest. One of my friends put it like this. I've said this in a couple videos because he said it to me and it is so true. You know that when Cad Bane's in a Clone Wars episode, it is about to go down. They're going to be fighting, they're going to be running for their lives, they're going to be doing their best to overcome him, and he's going to be doing his best to fight the frick back. Because he is Cad freaking Bane, the cowboy of Star Wars, the best bounty hunter in the galaxy, and one of the most impressive individuals on this list. I know I'm kind of glazing him right now, and you know what? I'd rather do nothing else. Cad Bane is an easy S tier. Sit up there, legend. You're with your friends now. Who the frick is this? He seems very vaguely familiar, but like, I'm gonna put him in who the heck are you? Because I can't remember anything about him. I can't remember even what episodes he was in. He seems familiar, again. Oh wait, was he the guy? Oh! Wait, let me cook, boys. In the episode Rookies, when the Domino Squad is trying to prove their worth, is he the guy who's standing in their way and saying that they need to quit and be put on maintenance like 99? Is that him? Hang on, let me go fact check this really quick, because if it's right, give myself a good old pat on the back in eating a yogurt-covered pretzel. The 5 Clone Squad's teamwork is dysfunctional, as noted by its instructor, hired Bounty Hunter Brick. Please be it. Let's go! That is him! Boom! You can't get anything past this noodle right here. I'm mine like a steel trap. Yogurt-covered pretzel on me. Have it back. So we're gonna take our good friend Brick out of Who the Heck Are You and put him in not really a villain, just a hallucination of Yoda's. Even though he's not really a hallucination of Yoda's, he's not really a villain. I mean, he's just a guy. At the end of the day, he's a hired bounty hunter helping the Republic. He's also just trying to weed them out for the good of the Republic in some way, because he thinks they're an inefficient, bad squad. So I really don't think he's that much of a villain. I don't really understand why he's on this list, but I'm gonna leave him right here, not really a villain, and just pretend that this whole part right here doesn't exist. We are in the final 3 now, and this is that doctor who basically made the coronavirus on Naboo and was trying to drop it before he got captured. I don't remember his name, and I don't particularly care that much because I remember everything else about him. He's a C-tier villain. He's kind of with the rest of them, I feel like. He's not that different from most of them. I mean, his plan failed. He was a mad genius who was trying his best to infect the whole system and didn't really work out for him. So because of that, he got mad and got arrested, and that was it. That was the end of him. So C-tier. I think very fair. We are getting to the final 2. At number 2, we have the legend himself, Hondo Ohnaka. I'm really debating S or A tier, and I think S tier. I really do. This is the Jack Sparrow of Star Wars. This guy, if you've watched him before, you will love him. Personable, charming, funny, witty, looks out for number 1. I mean, what's not to like about him? He's in so many episodes. Very consistent character in the sense that he is always dishonest and will always betray you for profit, as he says, I smell a profit. S tier all the way. Big fan of Hondo Ohnaka. Anyone who's seen him absolutely loves him. Finally, Aura Singh. Aura Singh is, I'd say, an A-tier villain. She's very calculating, very cold, very efficient, very good bounty hunter. And this, boys, is the final tier list. Look right here. This is all we have. And if you like this video, you need to watch this video right here, where I ranked every character death in Star Wars on a similar tier list. If you like this one, I know you like that one. Check it out. And thanks for watching. Bye. Have a good one. See you later.